And we will get started. So, just a couple announcements for you guys this week. I'm just following up. I appreciate so many of you who have already gotten your assessments in. I think everybody on the call so far, your assessment's been turned in, and I have turned it back to you. So I am speeding through those. I will continue to work on them tomorrow as well. And we have like a 3-ish hour drive to Atlanta to fly out. So I'll be able to get a lot done there too. I appreciate you guys just being so understanding and getting that moved around. So that was the first thing. Second thing is, I have heard that Red Velvet is selling pretty fast. So if you've not got your hands on Red Velvet yet, I would try to snag it this week or so because that is one of our seasonal flavors. Once it's gone, it's gone. So just a little reminder about the collagen as well as the protein. I have plenty of red velvet recipes too. So if you're somebody who needs red velvet recipes, let me know. But the other thing I wanted to show you guys too is I'm not sure if you are aware, but I'm going to share my screen with you here and show you First Form's blog. So if you've never actually looked at First Form's blog, it's incredible. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go back to the main page here, share my screen, and then show this to you. Ooh, Skylar, I'll have to ask about that. I don't know that if Cherry Slush Formula One Clear is coming back off the top of my head, but I will ask because you're definitely not the only person that wants to know about that too. A lot of other people were asking about uh the oh my gosh, the name escapes me now. The honey chipotle beef sticks as well as the Italian beef sticks. Those were only for Black Friday. So those are never coming back to my knowledge, which is really sad, but I wish I would have known that. So anyway, I want to show you guys this. Okay, so obviously Red Velvet's right here. If you scroll all the way to the bottom and you hit blog, so this blog, what it's going to pop up with is workouts, nutrition, recipes, supplements, health and wellness, etc. Now, what they recently have just posted on the blog here, they do a pretty good job every week of putting a recipe up there, but you can hit recipes here. And then, of course, since we're talking about red velvet or red velvet's the season, you're going to see this, but then all of these other recipes as well. So if you had the birthday cake protein, you can look at that, but it's not just recipes with protein. It's crescent roll, breakfast bake, harvest casserole, lots of different things here. And these are all made by our dietitian. And well, we have a team of dietitians, but the best part about it is look, they've already done the macros for you. So you don't have to calculate them out. Again, they calculate them inside the First Form app. So when you get the ingredients as well as the toppings, and the directions here, boom, there's going to be the macros right there. So that's for every single recipe. We will never like, and me in the Facebook group, as well as I say myself, the Facebook group, as well as First Form, we will never give you a recipe that doesn't have some sort of macronutrient guidance there too. So I didn't know if you guys knew that the blog exists there, but again, you can just find it at the very bottom of the website here, right under About First Form. It's going to be that blog, and then all that stuff is there too. So hopefully that information is helpful because it's really nice to be able to see like, oh wow, yeah, I mean the Facebook group's got tons of options, especially because it's cuisine week, and we actually have Julian doing all of the cuisines this week, and he is Hispanic. So he is like, he's giving you like the best possible authentic recipes that he can, which is amazing. So if you guys want some good, different Hispanic ideas, those are coming this week as well, which is why I'm not putting any recipe with the team call emails. And then next week is Asian cuisines. So we're doing a little bit of different Chinese, Japanese, different Asian dishes. That's something that's like super outside of my comfort zone. Like I just wouldn't know what to get to make a whole bunch of that stuff. But the idea is that we're going to show you guys different things that you can do to make those things, or you can make them easier for you. So lots of different recipe stuff, but just wanted to share that resource with you guys because it is great. So tonight, we're going to jump into FAQs part two. So last week, just as a review of the things we covered, we said, one, should I use a food scale? We said yes. Two, what are good carbs, right? We said anything from the earth. Three, what do I do about my sweet tooth? Four, I like sauces and dressings, but I don't necessarily like the fat content. How do I deal with that? Or how do I make them healthier? We gave a lot of different options there. So, we're going to talk about four more questions this week, and I think you guys are going to enjoy it. So, the first one is, and I hear this all the time and relatively pretty frequently lately, I've been hearing this like very consistently, and that is the scale is going up. Oh no. Or I saw the scale go up. Oh no. What's happening? Did I gain a pound of fat, etc.? So, let's talk about it. First off, there is so much that goes into a scale. All right. And unless you're somebody who has like the Hume scale or like a body pod scale, or you're actually getting in body scans, looking at a scale number can be pretty detrimental because you see just one number and you think that that is a reflection of what you are worth, or that is a reflection of all the work and all the things that are going on in your body. Now, let's just go ahead and let's list out a couple of different things, which, guys, I feel the exact same way as you. Sometimes I see the scale go up. I'm like, shit, what's going on? Like, what's happening here? But we have to remember the scale is not just made up of fat, okay? You have your skeletal mass, which this is your bones and joints, what that weighs something. You have your muscular mass, so all the muscle that's attached to your body. Then you have your fat mass, which is going to be the percentage of fat on your body, which it should be comforting for a lot of us women to know that we should be roughly around 20% of above for body fat. If you are lower than that, you start to risk unhealthy things. You can lose your cycle, really impacts hormonal health. Like, we don't want women's getting into the teens really. So if you're within the 20s or above, like, again, you're okay. Men can get a little bit lower. They can actually carry quite a bit of a lower body fat percentage. But again, they don't have the impact on their cycle that we would have the impact on, right? So fat mass is in there. But then also, let's not forget about your organs, right? Your organs weigh something. Your brain alone is anywhere from 8 to 10 pounds, okay? So when you see that and you're like, darn, I just wish I could lose 10 pounds. Guess what? You can't just take it right now, okay? It'd be awesome if we could do that. But we can't. It's the organs. And then on top of that, it's also your water mass too. We are 70% water. So when you're looking at the scale, that number, you have to remember it's reflecting all of these different things. It's not just fat loss or weight loss on the scale. Now, some other things that can impact the scale, and some of you guys can speak to this in the comments or feel free to unmute and share. But some of the main things that I see affect the scale are water, either too much water, if you will, or lack of water, too many electrolytes, not enough electrolytes, too much salt, not enough salt, lack of sleep, too much sleep, more stress, not enough stress, constipation, diarrhea, any changes within the digestive system. And lo and behold, the most important one, and let's not forget, is muscle. So all of these things are going into the scale. And I share this transparently with you guys, and I've done an announcement on this before, and I should probably do it again. That if I get up in the morning first thing and step on the scale after my workout, that scale will be 4 to 5 pounds heavier. Now, did I just gain 4 to 5 pounds in my workout? No. But what's happening here is my muscles are holding on to fluid. They're gathering lactic acid to help the body repair. I'm taking in water. I'm also taking in a fat burner. I'm taking in glutamine. Glutamine's an amino acid. So the muscles and just the body is sucking all of those things up. And by the time I'm done with Train with Kelsey, I probably have 40 ounces of water drank. And whether I did or didn't go to the bathroom, that's going to influence it too. But if that says like a workout alone can influence the scale by 4 to 5 pounds, guess what? We as humans fluctuate 5 to 7 pounds a day. Now, does that mean that you're all of a sudden gaining and losing 5 to 7 pounds of fat? No, that's literally impossible. But especially for females too, the cycle is really going to play into that as well. I know on my cycle, I will be anywhere from 5 to 10 pounds heavier than I am a week when it's not on my cycle because my body's holding on to a lot of those nutrients. As women, we forget that our cycle is the way to detox our body. It is the way to get rid of toxins in our body. So all of those things are going to impact the scale. And something from a numeric value that I want you to remember in your head. To gain a pound of fat, you need to eat an excess, meaning your calories, an excess of 3,500 calories. Now, I want all of you to think about your calories. They're probably anywhere from like 1,400, 1,600, 2,000, 2,200. If you're, one of our gentlemen on the team, maybe it's 25, 28, 2,900 because males need to eat a lot more. That would mean that you'd have to eat 3,500 calories on top of that. Now, I looked at all your nutrition this week. None of y'all are doing that, right? That's not happening here. So we can remember that on if it's a weekend and it doesn't go as planned, or if it's a holiday and it doesn't go as planned. To gain a pound of fat, it is 3,500 calories that you need to gain it. But then also we can use that really well, that a pound of fat weighs 3,500 calories throughout the week. That's the amount of a deficit that we could shoot for if we wanted to lose 1 pound per week. So we can use this in either direction. But again, it's important to remember that in one day, it is physically impossible for you to gain or lose a pound of fat unless you were eating in excess of 3,500 calories. Okay. So if you plowed down a whole bag of Kit Kats, well, then maybe, right? We'll talk about it. But none of you are doing that. So it's just a great reminder that that number, that 3,500 calories is, is a number to remember in the back of your mind. And then again, if you're focused on weight loss, and you're in a 500 calorie deficit every day and you do that for 7 days, well, then there's your 3,500 calories for the week. You should see the scale go down by a pound of fat that week. So we can use it both ways. So if the scale is going up, please, please, please do not fret. Many of you guys, especially when you've been on this journey for a while, or maybe even you're just starting this journey, you're like, I am working out. I am doing more than steps than I ever have before. I'm eating clean. I'm tracking my macros. Why is the scale going up? You know what I want to say? It's muscle. Your body's finally like, thank you for giving me the things that I need in order to sustain the muscle because muscle's expensive. It's hard to keep on our body, but through appropriate supplementation, through appropriate training, as well as appropriate nutrition, you are able to maintain that lean muscle on your body. So again, just remember that there's so much more in the scale than just fat mass. That is actually one of the least things I'm concerned about with the scale when we look at all the times that go into it. Okay. So that's question number one. Then question number two is, okay, Kelsey, if all those things go into the scale, when should I step on the scale? So let's talk about it. First off, if you get a crappy night's sleep, don't you dare step on the scale. After you get home from vacation, you've been in different elevation, you've been on planes, you've been in cars. Please, dear God, do not step on the scale, right? You have had sickness, you've had stress, you've been on antibiotics. None of those things. You don't want to step on the scale. The best time for you to step on the scale is after a really good night's sleep. And I'm not talking you woke up throughout the night. I'm talking like knocked out the whole night, probably 8 to 9 hours of sleep. First thing in the morning, like as in minimal clothes as possible, then you can step on the scale. That's going to be a really true reflection of your weight. But again, if you slept like crap, if you tossed and turned all night, if you were hot, if your husband's sleeping next to you and he's sick or he's snoring or whatever, probably not going to be the best time for you to step on the scale. But then also, ladies, keep this in mind, gentlemen, this doesn't affect you, but ladies, you should not be weighing on your cycle. I mean, if you want to know the difference of how much you fluctuate, sure, but again, remember that is not your true weight. Ladies, you want to wait until the absolute end of your cycle when you have absolutely no more of a bleed happening. Then, after a good night's sleep, you can step on the scale. Any other time there, not really our true weight. So, I know that with your assessments every week, it prompts you to take pictures, right? Which I want you to take pictures over necessarily weighing. If you haven't weighed in the app in 3 months, it's probably a good idea to do a weigh-in. But you do not need to be weighing in every day. You don't even need to be weighing in every single week. If we get it, monthly, bi-weekly, something like that, or when you feel really good about it, great. It's a fantastic data point, but it doesn't need to be something that we put so much weight on, literally, and so much stress over. Okay. So the scale's going up. Oh no, what do we do? But then two, when to step on the scale. Is there any questions about that, or do you guys have anything personally you want to comment on about that? I know Jody said she needs to hear this again. It's the biggest thing we struggle with. Girl, it's the biggest thing all of us struggle with. I think we've all been there before. We've been victimized by the scale.
I
That
was just say
ourselves.
the way like when I do, I try to like weigh on Sundays because I feel like I've had like enough rest days when I have like an ideal week
Sure.
from working out. So that way I'm not like weighing right after the night or the morning after where I had just worked out the night before.
Yeah.
'Cause said our muscles are holding on to everything. So usually like if I can get a workout finished Friday, then usually Sunday morning I feel like I'm good to weigh or like when I am on my period, I usually weigh like at least a week after because that's when I feel like my leanest in my whole cycle and less
Yep.
bloated. So that's usually when I'll do it as well.
That's a good idea, Skylar. I like that you said, okay, Sundays work really good for me because I've had a couple of rest days in there. And that's important too. If you did a really heavy leg day yesterday and you are sore, like you feel the DOMS, which we call delayed onset muscle soreness, DOMS, that's what DOM stands for. All of us have experienced that. Probably not a great idea to step on the scale because, again, your body's holding onto a lot of water. And an interesting fact too is that for every gram of glycogen, glycogen is the fancy term for sugar in the body. For every gram of glycogen that our muscles take in, it takes in 4 grams of water. So think about that. 1 gram of glycogen, 4 grams of water. And you're taking in glycogen all the time. So that's how we can fluctuate so much throughout a day. So really being mindful of that too. But again, just some good reminders of, okay, if the scale is going up, oh no, or when to step on the scale, we'll think about those things too. So if you guys have anything else to add, please go ahead and put it in the chat. The third thing that we're going to talk about is kind of maybe hand in hand with the scale, but just giving you guys a little bit of insight to my coaching approach and what I do. So, the third question is, how do I know when I need to make a change with macros, right? A lot of people come into macro tracking thinking that they're going to be making changes all the time. And that's not typically how macros work because the metabolism, the way that we digest, the body craves consistency. It wants consistency. When it's super inconsistent, the body gets really frustrated and it doesn't know necessarily what to deal with. So if we got 1600 calories today and 1800 tomorrow and then 1900 the next day and 1100 the fall, there's a lot of things that are happening with the body of like, well, okay, I got enough food, don't have enough food. Too much food, not enough, right? Back and forth. It can be really frustrating. So let's say that for 2 to 3 weeks, more so on the 3 week side than the 2 week side. Let's say that you have nailed your macros near perfectly. You've hit protein, you've hit calories, you're well within the range of carbs and fats. You've done all of your workouts, you've hit all of your steps. Then we can talk about making a 10% change. And that is the change that I make for you guys. So I typically will take anywhere from 5 to 10% of one of your macros. It might be protein, it might be carbs, it might be fat. Most of the time, I'm changing macros from a carbohydrate standpoint. Usually, we lock in pretty close around proteins and fats and we kind of modify with carbs. But that's important to know too that if you have a super inconsistent week with tracking, so let's say, for example, so I'm going to pull up. One of the coaches that I coach, she's tracking very inconsistently right now because she's postpartum. Okay, so she won't care that I share this because it's not gonna bother her at all. So let's say that her nutrition looks something like this, right? Okay, so oops, I have to go back to it. Sorry, it looks something like this. I think all of us would agree that okay, that's pretty inconsistent, right? We're not hitting protein. We are hitting carbs and fats. We're going pretty far over in fats right now. Again, she's literally 2 weeks postpartum. So, like, we're just going to cut her some slack, right? But I think that this example is great in saying that if she came to me being a regular client, not postpartum, and she was like, I want to change my macros. My first thing I would say to her is like, well, with what evidence do we have to change your macros? How do we know what to change? Do we change protein? Do we change carbs? Do we change fats? I really have no idea. And so, what we'd have the conversation about is hey, let's go ahead. Let's track as consistently and as close as we possibly can for two, if not 2.5, 3 weeks. Then we can make that 10% change. And the change that we're probably going to make is in the form of carbohydrates. So it's nice for you guys to kind of be inside my brain from an assessment perspective, too, of if we haven't hit things consistently and we're super inconsistent, and all of a sudden we say, hey, we think we need to make this big change. The answer is, oh, we probably don't need to make that change. What we probably need is to drive more consistency. And that's not to say that, okay, maybe you're really consistent with your macros, but you've skipped all your strength training workouts and you're not hitting your steps. Well, then guess what? We need to take that nutrition, we need to pair it with the strength training and the steps, and then we need to go ahead and make that change. And when we do that, you'll get to the point where all of your bodies want refinement. They want fine tuning of things. They don't want big swings. They don't want big changes to the point where we can say, and Heather, I'm going to use you as an example. I hope you're okay with this. Which she and I were talking a couple weeks ago, and we're like, you know what? No, let's bump up the protein by 5 grams. Like, let's just make this little change here because you're consistently hitting it, but your body's saying like we might need a little bit more. We've done a very similar thing with carbs for her, but then the next week she can immediately tell me what that does to her body. Does she feel fuller for longer? Does she sustain her energy through her workouts more? Does she feel more energized? Like what's happening there? Whereas if she was all over the place and then she told me like I want to change my carbs by 5 or my protein by 5, I'd be like, okay, like we can try it, but we're probably still going to feel this frustration in about 2 weeks or so. So again, knowing when to make those changes is going to be really, really important, but you have to have the supporting data in order to make those changes. So I get the desire to make the change. Trust me, I've been there. But I'll tell you guys personally, I've been asking my coach Monica for the last 4 weeks to change my macros, and she finally changed them this last week. But guess what? I had those macros for 4 months before we changed them. 4 months. And I was able to show her over 4 months, I did this consistently, blah, blah, blah. Here's the change that I think I need to make. Before that, my macros were set for 6 months. Didn't touch them, didn't change them, anything. Just over and over and over and over and over as we're working on other variables. So hopefully that helps you kind of inside to my brain of the just verification of things that I need in order to make that macro change and then how we make that macro change. So, of course, if you guys have questions specifically from your own standpoints, please reach out to me, but just wanted to talk through that. So, any questions about when to make a change? We're good? Okay. Next one is how do I know what supplements I should take and what supplements should I be taking? So we're just going to do a really quick, great overview of what we call the foundational supplements. So no matter where you are on your fitness journey, strength gain, weight loss, maintenance, whether you are postpartum, whether you're planning for pregnancy, whether you're getting ready for a wedding, whether you are, getting ready for a vacation or you just want to feel great about yourself, there is 4 supplements that can help anybody where they're at. First one is OptiGreens. OptiGreens 50 is incredible because it has 50 organic ingredients in it. Now, with that being said, it's not just, oh, woohoo, 50 organic ingredients. We have handpicked these for a reason. And there is 5 different blends within inside OptiGreens. There is a probiotic, which is the healthy food for the gut bacteria. So we have pre and probiotics. Prebiotics are what are in your gut. Probiotics feed the prebiotics. So that's going to be first. If you're somebody who takes antibiotics or you've taken a lot of antibiotics in your history, it can really kind of clean out those probiotics. So we should be taking a probiotic alongside of any sort of medications, which unfortunately the medical world doesn't always tell people to do, but we're here to let you know that. Second thing is digestive enzymes. These are going to be things like you're going to see on the back of the bag, amylase, lipase, maltase, etc., things like that. What these things do is these digestive enzymes help you break down your foods and break down the sugars. So, in order to appropriately use all your food, you need to be able to break it down. Digestive enzymes are going to do that. And those come from the earth of things like tropical fruits. So, papayas, mangoes, pineapples, etc. Those are going to have really good digestive enzymes. The probiotics, because I forgot to mention, those are going to be things for like fermented foods. So sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir, Greek yogurt, etc. I don't know about you guys, but I'm just not eating shovels of sauerkraut. I definitely get my Greek yogurt in, but not sauerkraut. So fermented foods is a little harder for me. Then we also have a blood sugar balancing blend. This is one of my favorite things in there. It's called a glycemic balance blend, which is just a fancy name for blood sugar balance. What this does is instead of spiking and tanking your blood sugar, which leads to insulin insensitivity over time, it keeps your insulin sensitive. We want our insulin sensitive to what we're taking in. So it gradually brings us up and then it goes ahead and brings us down. It's not spike tank, spike tank, spike tank. And then they're also going to have phytonutrients and antioxidants in them, with it, which if you look at the berries on the back of it and the green superfood complex, you're going to see a whole bunch of different things that you're just not eating on a daily basis. So that's going to be great to help you digest, decrease your amount of bloating, stabilize your blood sugar, increase your fiber intake, and just lead to a healthier gut overall. Because the number one thing that I fix, and I say fix in parentheses because it's never my job to fix things in my practice, it's my job to understand things. But the number one thing that we fix is people's gut health from a perspective of balancing the blood sugar. And those OptiGreens really help with that. So that's going to be our first one. Second one is, oh, good question, Skylar. So, what's the best time of day to take greens? You just need to take them with food. So, if you want to take them in the morning, great. If you want to take them in the evening, great. Logan and I eat supper every single night, and then we put our dishes away. We mix up our 2 scoops of greens and our magnesium together. Greens do have a taste, is very much of an earthy taste. We do have chocolate and we have berry. So I would say that the berry is very much of an earthy taste. The chocolate is much better from just like a standpoint of eating it. Oh my gosh, drinking it by itself. But then lots of people pair the berry greens with magnesium because our magnesium is flavored. So some of my favorite options are the OptiGreens berry and peach ring or the OptiGreens berry and the strawberry kiwi. So I'm sure lots of people in the comments, because a lot of people on the team take them, they can let you know what their favorites are too. So I take it right before bed. Like I said, it works really well for me. I've got food in my stomach, and then the magnesium kind of helps me wind down too. So that's a really easy thing. No, Jody, there's no chalky texture to the greens. I don't think that there's. I've never experienced a chalky texture at all. That's a good question, but it's not gritty, it's not grainy. You do want to froth it though. So like I froth mine instead of if I just mixed it with a fork or a spoon, it might be a little bit, but I use like a coffee frother and it's really great. So yeah, super good question.
A question about the frothing. So I use the frother, and if I can stomach the greens, anybody can stomach them. It is a mind over matter, but I mix mine with like the sugar-free cranberry juice and
Yep.
the magnesium. But when I froth it, it gets so much froth on top
That's probably because of the juice that's in there too. So
versus the
maybe,
water.
yeah, maybe try to froth it with a little bit of water first and then add the juice in afterwards and see how that goes.
Yeah, because it's like drinking the foam at the end.
Yeah,
Not
I
cool.
understand. And you know what? Logan and I will actually leave ours kind of on the counter for maybe like 2 minutes before we drink it or so, just because we're talking, we're chatting, we're taking Core 21, whatever. So you might want to just like let it sit for a second too, Heather. That's an option. But yes, if you can stomach the greens, I remember us talking. Anybody
Yes.
can do it, right? And again, they're not supposed to taste super amazing, guys. Any greens that you see, they're like pink lemonade flavor, blue raspberry. Like they're adding a whole bunch of stuff in there that does not need to be in there. So you want it from the earth. So that's the first thing. Second thing is for supplements, Microfactor. Now, Microfactor is the most comprehensive multivitamin that exists on the market. The only time I would recommend you to not take Microfactor is if you are planning on pregnancy. Then I would recommend our prenatal. But otherwise, taking Microfactor is fantastic. Microfactor truly fills your known and your unknown gaps. You're going to get a fish oil in there, which we'll talk about here in a second. You're getting phytonutrients, a CoQ10. You're getting a 3 capsules of a multivitamin, which is amazing because we can't shove it all into one capsule. Lots of great antioxidants, as well as another probiotic and digestive enzyme in there as well. So anybody can benefit from Microfactor. And if you're getting the greens in the powder, Microfactor also comes in a powder. So you can froth that up in your greens as well if you're not someone who likes to swallow a whole bunch of pills. If you don't mind swallowing pills, that's perfectly fine. But those two are going to be fantastic for anybody anywhere because it's really optimizing your gut health and your overall energy. Third one is Full Mega. So Full Mega does exist inside the microfactor, but Full Mega is our fish oil. And why I love our fish oil so much is it has the efficacious, and efficacious is a fancy word for saying the actual dose that your body needs in order to utilize it. Now, there is 600 milligrams of EPA and 900 milligrams of DHA. Those are the essential fatty acids that are in there. Whereas if you actually go to CVS or Aldi or Walmart or something, flip the back of a fish oil bottle over and you'll actually notice, wow, I would be needing to take 3 or 4 of these to actually get the efficacious dose. So ours is already dosed like you need it to be. And this is fantastic for brain health, heart health. Every single lining of your cell is made up of fat. We call them lipids. Lipid bilayers is what really keeps pathogens and invaders and viruses out of cells. But then also for females specifically, Fulmega is really, really great for our overall hormone production and then to help mitigate some symptoms around cycle times as well. So I double up on my Fulmega for the duration of my cycle, and that really helps me. So just a little plug there. And then the last one, because I could talk about supplements for days because I love to nerd out and educate about them, but is Level One, right? Level One is our comprehensive protein powder. That is our meal replacement protein powder. It is a blend of 3 proteins, a milk protein concentrate, whey protein concentrate, and a whey protein isolate. And those three blended together makes it mimic the digestion of whole foods. Whereas if you drink something like Formula One, P for formula equals P for post-workout. That's how you can remember those two go together. That one's going to digest a lot more rapid, a lot quicker because it's just a whey protein isolate. So level one is fantastic to have on hand to mix with oatmeal, to mix with Greek yogurt, to put in smoothies, to drink in coffee, to drink in tea. I've done that before because you guys know I'm not a coffee drinker. To bake with it. There's honestly unlimited possibilities that you can do with level one ice cream, Ninja Creamies, like so many different options. But level one is great. So having a flavor of that on hand is going to be huge. My favorite flavors overall is our seasonal red velvet right now. I love me some red velvet, but I also love our salted peanut butter or just caramel latte. Really classic flavors. You can mix it in anything. And I think our salted peanut butter is like a really good replacement for PB too. So oh, Skylar, yes. You just got a Ninja Creamy? Girl, hit me up for some recipes. I got you. I got you. I'm probably going to do a whole recipe book of Ninja Creamies like come summertime too. So that'll be available as well. But Those are going to be our top 4 supplements that I would recommend. Now, of course, every individual goal, right? Formula One for post workout is still important. Magnesium for overall sleep and just bodily health is really important too. It's going to be entirely dependent on what you need, but you can't go wrong with those things. Anybody, no matter the age, no matter whatever, where they are in their fitness journey, they can benefit from those things. So, that's what I've got for you guys tonight. So, why is the scale going up? When to step on the scale? How do I know I needed to make a change with macros? And what supplements should I be taking? Or what are some really great options to take? So, any questions about that before I let you guys go tonight?
I don't have a question, but I wanted to bring up a point I like ran into,
Yeah.
just in case anybody's in the same boat. So like I'm on birth control, so like I couldn't take before I got the microfactor, I got the M Goddess,
Yep.
and I did chat on First Form, and then I also screenshotted the nutrition label and put it into Chat GPT to see if it would react with my birth control, and it
Okay.
said some of the ingredients in there could.
Okay.
It just depends on your birth control. So if anybody
Yeah.
like is on that, that's always good too. But the First Form chat was like so helpful. They were like, "Oh yeah, this ingredient we don't recommend it, so probably don't take this supplement like
Great.
if you're on it, or like one of my other medications, it's not recommended to take like the Core 21." So
With it.
I would
Sure.
just say the chat is really helpful on there too if you like don't have somebody to ask right away.
Yeah.
Or, like you're not available.
I was just about to ask if they were like hormonal birth control friendly because a lot of stuff apparently interacts with that.
So message me, Jody, the one that you have specifically, and then I'll do some deep dives for you, because everyone is going to be different depending if it's an IUD, depending if it's a pill, the bar, etc. So we'll make sure we look into that for you for sure. Yep,
Okay, thanks.
absolutely, for sure. Yeah, great question. Anybody else
So,
have anything to add? Heather, go ahead.
yes, I was waiting. I don't have birth control issues, so no problem there.
Mm.
The full mega, so
Yeah,
it's in the microfactor, which I take,
it
but you're
is.
saying you take it in addition?
I do, yes. So especially from my hormone healing journey, it was really helpful for me, especially with that phase one detoxification pathway we talked about with estrogen.
That's why I was asking because I was like,
Yep.
wait, do I need it? Okay,
So I don't take
understand.
microfactor anymore. I take the prenatal, but I take the 2 capsules in addition to the microfactor, or sorry, the prenatal. But when I was taking microfactor, I would also take 2 capsules of the full mega. You can't really like overdose on it. So if you're taking 3 capsules a
Right.
day, you're totally fine. Yep. Great question. What else we got? Any other questions? These are good. Okay,
Oh,
cool.
actually, I have one more.
Yeah, go ahead, Skylar.
Sorry. I might have like completely looked over in the chat, but did you ever send a link to your food scale from the other week?
I did.
Oh
Yep,
yeah,
I'll put it in the email again for you.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. I was like trying to go back, but I guess I just like looked over it because
I put it in the Facebook chat. I didn't put it in the email, so I'll link it in
Oh,
the
okay.
email so it'll be easier for you to find for sure.
I did get it. So yes, she
Okay,
sent it.
sweet. Awesome. Well, I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. Let me know, of course, if you need anything, and just continue to keep these FAQs coming. If you learn something, great. If we're gonna dive into something specific with regards to what you have going on, shoot me a message, like I said, and let me know. Have a fantastic rest of your evening, and we'll talk next week. Okay?
Safe travels.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.